good afternoon, Miss Evelyn. I think you're the only one with us today. I'm glad that you're here. We are recording our session, this presentation. So just so you know that we are recording, so we can post it on our website for other people to view this presentation at their own convenience. So I know school just got out, so I'm sure everyone is on their way home or driving home, but we record these presentations just so then you can access them anytime. So thank you for being here. I'm Miss Luan Singh. I'm one of your 8 counselors here at Sweetwater High School. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and this week is actually Student Mental Health Week in the month of May. And so every day at 2:30 this week, we'll be doing a short presentation about mental health. And then we'll answer any questions that anyone might have towards the end. If you're not watching us live, feel free to shoot an email to your counselor about any questions that come up as you're watching this presentation. So we're very happy to have you here. Hello. All right, so today's topic is mental health, defining mental health, and talking a little bit about managing your emotions. So today's a little bit of an introduction to the rest of the topics we're going to talk about this week. So today we're hoping that you'll be able to define what mental health means. You'll also be able to understand and recognize when you're having certain types of feelings. And we'll also talk about different ways that you can manage those different types of feelings when you are having them. Okay. So if you feel inclined to participate, when you think of the words mental health, what is it that you think of, or what is it that what comes to mind when you hear the words mental health? You can put it in the chat, or you can say it out loud. So I see mental health means self-care. Yes, it's one of my favorite topics is self-care. Thank you. When you think of physical health, what do you think of? Yes, me too. Exercise, physical health. Very good. And then, so what are some things we do to take care of our physical health? So Evelyn said exercise. Yes, that's one of the things we do for our physical health. We eat well. Exactly. Those are probably the 2 primary things we should do to take care of our physical health, is to exercise and eat well. But sometimes we forget, like, okay, so what is it that we do for our mental health? And so one of the things we mentioned earlier was self-care. Yes. What other types of things might we do for our mental health other than self-care? Or what are some examples of self-care that you might do? For me, both for physical and mental health, I like doing yoga, because it kind of slows things down. I do my yoga at the end of my day, and so it kind of slows everything down. It gives me a time to reflect and think about how my day went. So that's all in my mental health. And then I do some exercises, stretches, and so that's good for my physical health. Yes, take a break and color a coloring book. Yes. I was in a training this morning with several school counselors across the district, and we were talking about self-care for counselors and school psychologists, and they actually gave us a few coloring pages that we could use. And so as some of us were attending our meeting, we were doing our coloring pages, and so it was nice to do that, calming, and when thinking about some of these things that we do in regards to our work as school counselors and school psychologists. But yes, I love the coloring book. I love that. So defining mental health is the state of our mental and emotional well-being. So there's a range of mental health. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to show you a quick little video, and then we'll chat a little bit more about it at the end of this video.
can't tell how someone feels just by looking at them or what they share online. To the outside world, our lives may look perfect, even if in reality they aren't. I'm always worrying about doing well at school, and with the end of year test coming up, I'm not sure how much longer I can cope. My thoughts swarm around my head, sometimes keeping me up all night. Some days it's just all too much, and I feel like I'm lost in space. When I did badly on one of my tests, I just about kept it together until I got home. Then I broke down crying in front of my mum. She listened for a bit, and then she told me that just like physical health, we all have mental health. It's our feelings, our thinking, our emotions, and our moods. She then said that feeling down, angry, and stressed is a normal part of life, just like it's normal to feel happy, confident, and carefree sometimes. We all have positive and negative emotions that come and go based on what's happening around us. These are everyday feelings. Good mental health means experiencing negative emotions. It's not always about being happy. Mum can relate to the feelings of stress. So when Mum suggested I take a break from everything and do something I enjoy, I actually took her advice. So I made myself a hot chocolate, snuggled up in a duvet and watched a film. And you know what? Afterwards I felt so much better. Mum should take her own advice.
Most of us only ever share the good things. We don't like to share how we really feel. Every morning when I wake up, negative thoughts stream through my head. Getting out of bed and pretending I'm okay takes all the energy I have. As the day goes on, the negative thoughts turn from a stream into a river. The water rushes through my head so loudly it's hard to concentrate in lessons. And some days it's so bad it feels like a waterfall that's trying to pull me over the edge. Everything is so overwhelming. I didn't think my friends would understand if I told them how down I was feeling. But when Sasha opened up to me about how stressed she was feeling, I told her. I wasn't sure how to bring up how I'd been feeling, so I started by saying that I didn't feel like myself. Just her listening made me feel like she understood. She told me some things that had helped her, so I tried them too, but it didn't make much of a difference. Even when I tried to be around my friends, I felt alone. The things I used to enjoy weren't fun anymore.
I was really worried about Andre and not sure what to do. He was quiet and wasn't hanging out with us like he used to. So I asked our head of year for some advice. He suggested I get Andre to speak to him since his negative feelings weren't going away.
I didn't want to speak to our head of year, but I also didn't want to keep feeling so down, so I went. He said that sometimes we have overwhelming feelings that can be more intense than our everyday feelings. These feelings hang around for a long time and change the way we feel, think, and behave. They can stop us doing what we want to in life. That's what I was going through. He also said that if we're physically unwell, we let people know, we ask for help. It should be no different with mental health. Sometimes our overwhelming feelings are brought on because of things in our life. Sometimes they happen for no reason at all. After hearing this, I felt much less alone and it felt good to talk. Scientists have found exercise can help when you're feeling low, so our head of year encouraged me to sign up to the school football club, which Sasha was already in. I still have days when the river is there, but now I'm beginning to understand my mental health. I'm learning how to cope. Our head of year reminded me that my friends, family, teachers, and lots of others at school are there to help just as much as he is. I had no idea that people around me could be so understanding. And while it's not always easy to talk about my mental health, the person I'm talking to might be able to help. If you don't feel like talking, that's fine. You could try writing, sports, reading, art, music, playing with your pet, whatever makes you feel better.
If you're the person someone talks to when they're struggling, just listen with no pressure or judgments. You don't have to have the answer. If you feel unsure about anything, you can speak to a trusted adult. Talking about mental health doesn't have to be difficult. After all, it's something we all have.
Okay. So what is one new thing you learned in this video, if anything? I know some of the things that mentioned in this video are some things we had talked about earlier already, but is there anything new that you learned in this video? If so, go ahead and put that in the chat. One new thing you learned. For me, the part I liked in this video is that your feelings, it's a range of emotions. So it's not black and white or happy or sad. There's like a range of these feelings, and it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to be mad and sad and frustrated sometimes. It's okay to feel like that, but we need to know how to deal with some of those feelings, right? So Evelyn says one thing that works might not work on someone else. Exactly. So just with exercise, somebody might like running, but I don't like running. I like yoga, but maybe somebody doesn't like yoga. So one thing is not a one size fits all when it comes to mental health. So some things work better for others, and that's okay. I think the important part is finding what it is that works for you, and that's part of what we're going to continue talking about today. So defining your emotions. So emotions are that physical sensation that happens to your body when you're having your feelings. So for me, when I'm frustrated, like I can feel like my shoulders tense up and I get real tight and I feel like my shoulders are up to my ears, So emotion is when you're having a physical reaction to some of those feelings that you're having. And the first step in managing your emotions is recognizing that that's happening. So some of us maybe clench our fists when we're mad. Some of us clench our jaws when we're upset, or maybe you do that thing where you clench up your shoulders and you get real tight. So the first step in managing your emotions is recognizing what's happening to your physical body when you're having some of those feelings. And recognizing those emotions in ourselves is the key in managing your emotions and your feelings. Self-awareness is recognizing your own feelings, your own emotions. Social awareness is recognizing others' feelings and behaviors. So we all know friends and family members when you notice they're not themselves, there's something off, there's something going on with them, and you sense that there's something going on with them. And so it's important when we're talking about feelings, emotions, mental health, that not only are we self-aware, but we're also aware of those feelings and behaviors of other people around us. So you may have watched Inside Out from Disney. So this is another little video we're going to watch. This is one of my favorite Disney movies. It really relates to being a school counselor. So let's take a look at this clip.
Hmm. Ugh.
Funny. All right. So let's do a self check-in. So if you were going to check with yourself right now, are you feeling blue, sad, down, tired, low energy? Are you feeling green, happy, calm, ready to learn? Are you feeling yellow, frustrated, nervous, maybe a little silly? Or are you feeling red, angry, out of control, mean? Do you feel like yelling? So you can put on the chat or just kind of think of your color right now. See how your body feels and what clues is it giving you in regards to how you're feeling. So awesome. So we're feeling green and calm. I like that. I love it. So we hope that we're always green and calm. We would want to be green all the time, but we're not, and that's okay. It's okay to be blue. Sometimes it's okay to be red. Sometimes it's okay to be yellow. So it's okay to have those different types of feelings. And so when we think about the clues that our body is giving us, you know, how are those feelings happening in our body? When you feel calm, you probably feel loose. You feel light, okay? But when you're feeling angry, if you're feeling red, you probably feel really heavy and you feel really tight. So it's important that when we're having feelings, any of those range of feelings, that we're paying attention to what clues our body is giving us in regards to those feelings and emotions that we're feeling, right? Sometimes when we have a headache all the time, we're thinking, oh, I have a headache. I always have a headache. You know, think like, what's happening with me right now? You know, is there something that is stressful right now? Is there something that's on my mind? Do I have a test coming up? Is there something stressful happening at home that's causing the pain in my shoulders or for me to have a headache? So it's important to pay attention to those clues that our body is giving us. So now that we've identified those range of feelings with those characters from Inside Out, we've identified what those different types of feelings are, we can kind of start thinking about what tools we can use to help us manage our emotions. So earlier we talked about exercise, eating well, self-care, and here are some other ones that are listed here. So there's belly breathing. So as you breathe in, your belly goes in. And as you breathe out, your belly goes out. And you exaggerate that sensation of breathing because it helps you release some of that tension and some of that stress that you're feeling. You can even close your eyes and do that breathing and count. Maybe count those breaths. Count in. 1, 2, and all the way to 10. Okay. The counselors and I sometimes do some of these breathing exercises, and some of the counselors don't like closing their eyes, you know, and that's okay, but they still do the breathing. Instead of closing their eyes, they focus on something, like they focus on that flower right there, or that poster right there, or the tree outside of the window. So it's okay if you don't want to close your eyes, because sometimes closing your eyes can make you feel even more anxious and nervous. But if you can focus on something that you can see, Like I can see a little happy face sticker on my wall right there, so I could focus on that happy face sticker as I do my breathing. That would be cool. You can squeeze yourself into a hug. Okay, we do this thing called a butterfly hug. So you cross your arms over like a butterfly and you squeeze. You squeeze all that tension out of your shoulders and your arms. That feels good. There's another tool you can use is to push the wall. I don't know if I can do that here, but you just stand up against the wall and you put all your body weight on it, and you can feel all the tension in your arms, and you push as hard as you can, and then when you let go, you feel lighter. It's like you pushed all that negative energy into the wall to release it. So that's something else you can do. Or just simply take a walk. Get up out of your space, go outside, even if it's just a short walk down the block and back. It's nice to take yourself out of whatever situation that maybe is causing you some feelings, because taking you out of that physical environment helps. So maybe just taking a walk, getting out of that room and taking a little bit of walk will help you manage some of those emotions as well. So we're going to practice. Pick one of those tools from the last slide to use in your practice. We won't do this right now, but this is homework. This is homework from Miss Loansing that you can think about doing. So you can do something to get your heart racing. So you can jog in place or maybe do some jumping jacks, so then you can feel your heart start to race. Okay, so after you've jogged in place or did some jumping jacks, you're going to put your hand on your chest, because then you'll start hearing, you can feel your heart racing because you did some physical activity, right? And then you're going to choose one of those tools we talked about, the breathing or the closing your eyes or doing one of those hug things for a few seconds and closing your eyes, okay? And then you check yourself, maybe about after a minute or so of doing one of those calming exercises, and check to see if your heart is still racing really hard or has it slowed down. Maybe you can barely even feel it after doing some of those exercises. And that in and of itself can be one of your exercises. When you're feeling stressed, feeling anxious, feeling upset, that you check yourself. Take your hand, put it over your heart. You could probably feel your heart beating hard because of whatever feelings you're having. And you can just close your eyes. Take as long as you need to do those deep breathing exercises. Sometimes it'll take 30 seconds. Sometimes it'll take a minute. Sometimes it might take 10 minutes for you to sit there and do the breathing for you to help yourself calm down. And it's okay to take time to do that. It's important that you take time out of your day for self-care, even if it is just sitting, putting your hand over your heart and doing some breathing. That's an excellent self-care tip, to take some time out of your day to do a check-in with yourself. So what does all of this have to do with mental health? Mental health is a state of your mental and emotional well-being. Remember, mental is in here. Okay, it's what you're thinking, it's the feelings you're having. Remember, the emotions is how your body is reacting to those feelings, right? Whether it's tension or you start sweating or your heart starts beating, okay, that is your body emotions coming through those physical things happening to your body. It's important that with mental health, we pay attention to those clues that our body is giving us. Okay, sometimes I'm really bad at that too. You know, my body's already screaming for some attention, for some self-care, to find some calm. Maybe it needs some oxygen, so I need to slow down and do some breathing. And sometimes I forget to listen to my body too. I think we're all guilty of that. But it's in instances like this where we are able to remind ourselves of the importance of paying attention to what your body is telling you what you need, right? And we need to take care of our emotions, our feelings, just like we do our body. So earlier we said, okay, we exercise and we eat well to take care of our physical body, but what do we do to take care of our mental health? If we do that for our physical health, What are we doing for our mental health? And that should be equal. So if you're taking care of your physical health, you should be taking care of your mental health just as much, just as equally. But sometimes that's hard to do. Other ways you can improve your mental health: read a book. Okay, it doesn't have to be this novel, this huge novel. It can be anything fun that you enjoy. I know some people like reading those anime, graphic novels. I like reading children's books. Like I love the pictures and just the little stories that goes along with it, because it helps me find calm. And I'm not committed to reading this huge book. You know, it takes me a few minutes to read through a children's book, and it helps me find calm. Talking to a friend, so either just picking up the phone and talking to them, or even like texting or sending some messages over social media. That's fun. People like writing in journals. I write in a journal every night just to help me get my thoughts out of things that are on my mind and in my heart at the end of every day, and that helps me feel a little better. Taking a bath, putting your phone down and just to sit and be bored. I think sometimes we have a problem now that we have our phones with us all the time. It's hard to be bored because you've got your phone, you've got games, you've got social media, you've got pictures. So sometimes we have a hard time being bored, but it's okay to be bored. Just sit there with your thoughts, enjoy the scenery, go outside, take your walk, get your body moving. So the exercise we talked about earlier. And one of my favorite things to do is to write down things that you're grateful for. So maybe in that journal, some people feel pressured to write certain things in their journal, but even if just at the end of the day, you choose to write maybe 3 things that you're grateful for, or 3 good things that happened that day. That's a great way to focus on positivity at the end of your day. And so today we talked about mental health, okay, in comparison to physical health. We talked about how recognizing your emotions, the physicality of your feelings, and how that comes out in how your body feels. And maybe in the chat, if you feel like you want to share, what is one thing that you are going to try and do to improve your mental health? What is one thing that you think you'll be able to do to improve your mental health? One of the things that I've been working on is single tasking, doing one thing at a time. Not trying to do 5 different things at the same time, but to really focus on one thing at a time and not to get distracted, not try and do too much. So that's one of the things that I've been focusing on to improve my mental health. All right, so I want to say thank you for spending some time with us today. Okay, let's see in the chat. Okay, add more breaks into my week. I usually take a break on Friday, and the rest of the week is just work. Excellent, yes. I like our schedule right now for school, where school's like Monday through Thursday, and then Friday is kind of like a catch-up day, reach out to your teachers, get extra help kind of day. I like that. It's nice to have that catch-up day. I'm wishfully hoping that our school days next year will kind of look like that, because I find students like that Friday catch-up, get caught up day. So I hope, we'll see. So thank you for joining us this afternoon. We'll be here again tomorrow at 2:30 with a little bit more of a talk about mental health. The recording for this and the rest of the presentations this week will be on suhaicounseling.com. And if you don't follow us yet, please follow us on social media at Suhai Counseling. So thank you very much for being here. We appreciate you. We hope you have a great afternoon. Thank you. Thanks. See you tomorrow.